Hello there! Today I'm going to paint a splendid leaf frog in acrylics. The splendid leaf frog inhabits Costa Rica down to Panama and has the ability to glide from tree to tree, thanks to some webbing on their arms that stretches to their back legs. This acts like a sort of wing, and they're beautiful. To give my painting some real depth, I start by creating an underpainting of hooker's green, sap green, white and just a touch of crimson. I'm using an abstract expression brush and I like the way the firm bristles help to easily push the paint around. I've drawn up an outline of our splendid leaf frog, and if you want to give this lesson a go, you can download it by following the link above. To draw our frog on the canvas, I'm going to use a Montmartre water-based brush marker. These are fantastic to use with acrylic painting on canvas because you can easily remove your lines with a damp cloth. Using the lesson printout as a guide, our frog really starts to take shape. If something doesn't look quite right, just wipe off the line and draw it in again. It might look like drawing the frog should be a quick process, but getting your design right is really important. Next, I'm going to create a mix of sap green, phthalo blue and titanium white to start adding our jungle background. When you apply this colour mix, try to keep the edges as soft as possible and keep your strokes flowing. This creates a great backdrop to layer over. It's time to start on some fern-like leaves. To do this, I'm mixing sap green, cadmium yellow and a touch of ochre. Choose a large round brush to apply your paint. Use more pressure as you paint the base of each leaf. Increase the size as you move down the frond. Add in a little more cadmium yellow and a touch more titanium white to create some lighter leaves that will pop over the branch. It's important to get quite a bit of variance between your greens in a jungle scene to really create that lush jungle feel. Dip your brush into water each time before you dip it into the paint so it flows nicely. To create a really dark green, I'm using hooker's green and Payne's grey. This will create some great bamboo stalks. Use some hooker's green to create our bamboo leaves. Select a small round brush and start at the end of each leaf. Increase the pressure, then release it as you move towards the branch. Creating variation between each leaf is really important. Consistency doesn't look quite right when painting a realistic jungle scene. Once all of our jungle background is in and dry, it's time to glaze over the negative space around our elements so we can really create a beautiful soft glow. I've used a mix of cobalt blue, titanium white and acrylic retarder, making sure the background colour doesn't come too strongly through this coat. If you find your colour is too strong, add a clear acrylic matte medium to really bring those tones down and create the subtle looking background we're after. When you move to the centre of the canvas, lighten the tone by scumbling the paint on. Scumbling is a great technique and quite easy to do. Simply charge the brush with less paint and scrub it thinly over the surface of the painting. The effect we're wanting to achieve is that the background is barely visible under the scumbled layer. The retarder gel we've used slows the acrylic drying process, allowing you to create more continuous tones of paint. Once we've thinned out our blue glaze, create a mix of cadmium yellow, titanium white an acrylic retarder gel and start from the bottom of the canvas. Move up the canvas, lightening and painting with the scumbling technique as you go. By the time the yellow meets the blue, there should be almost no colour on your brush, making your tone very faint. This type of background preparation technique would also work really well on mural art. Now it's time to start on our splendid leaf frog. Apply white to any areas that will be light. If you look at the finished image of our frog in the lesson plan, it's easy to see what areas we want to highlight. I fill the lip and ear area first, then the eye and the markings around the head. The area under the frog is quite rippled and will have areas of light and shadow. I'm using titanium white to add a bit of tone. Because the background is so dark, scumble more titanium white onto the areas that need to be highlighted and let the background show through a bit more with less white for those darker areas. The underside of our frog is going to be glazed in yellows and oranges. These pigments are naturally more transparent and will allow dark tones to subtly show, adding some great depth to your painting. Once you get good at building tone with dry brushing, you'll be able to try out lots of new techniques and effects. After applying titanium white to the areas of highlight, glaze in the top part of the frog, then spatter on white by flicking it from a stiff brush. You'll be able to see those dots under the glaze, making your painting a lot more interesting. Glaze a light phthalo blue onto our frog's nose, taking it out to the areas bordering the white in the green. You'll notice that acrylic paint will dissolve the black from our water-based brush pen. In most cases, you'll be able to blend this into the coat you've just laid down. If you're adding a lighter coat, the black can contaminate the colour. When this happens, I like to remove the ink with a damp cloth. In all of the rest of the colours in this project, I'm going to add a clear acrylic matte medium so they are translucent and give us a really nice glowing colour and beautiful depth. Next, create a translucent green from sap green and glaze this onto the top part of our frog's head. Let the coat dry and glaze another layer over the top. When you glaze the same colour over itself, it slightly darkens the tone and allows you to create elements like bone structure and suggest shape more effectively. I think the most striking feature of the splendid leaf frog is its deep yellow-orange underside. To capture this brilliant tone, we need to build up the colours. Use lemon yellow to cover the whole body underside in a thin coat. It's easy to follow the outline because we've already dry brushed the underside, leaving our dark form tones visible. Allow the coat to dry, then glaze some cadmium yellow with a touch of orange over your previous coat. I don't paint this glaze over any highlighted areas to leave them lighter. The second coat has as much acrylic matte medium in it as paint, which makes it quite strong. Apply the paint with different strengths to achieve a patchy look. Once you're happy with this coat, create a darker yellow by adding more orange and apply, concentrating more colour in areas of shadow. Make sure your colours are translucent enough and apply it thinly so you don't mask your beautiful underlying glazes. Lighten and darken until you're happy with the colour, bone structure and muscle tone, and of course all those folds of skin.